Greetings, everyone. My name is Denisha Price, and I am a Chapter Activities Coordinator at American Concrete Institute. I would like to welcome you to today's leadership webinar series on creating a local awards program. Our speakers today are Emily Fogelman and Bob Lima. Emily Fogelman recently joined the Chapter Activities team at ACI after working with BOMA. She has a bachelor's degree in marketing from Wayne State University and a master's degree in elementary education from Ball State University. She has several years of marketing, social media, and sales experience in a variety of different industries. Bob Lehman is the communications manager for the Northern California and Western Nevada chapter. He is also the owner of Bob Lima's Ideal Works in California. Mr. Lima has provided communication services for over 40 years. During his co-ownership of a San Francisco media company, he provided video projects for clients, including Hewlett-Packard, Chevron USA, and various other clients. It looks like we have Quentin Davis as well joining us. He is the current manager of special inspections at Colliers Engineering and Design based in Red Bank, New Jersey. He is serving his first year term as vice chairman of the board of Eastern Pennsylvania and Delaware chapter. He has also served as the chairman for the Eastern Pennsylvania and Delaware chapter for the Excellence in Concrete Awards since 2017. Please join me in welcoming our speakers, and now they'll begin today's presentation.
Okay, let's get started. So hello, everyone. I'm actually going to turn my video off just to make this a little bit easier for you all to see. So today we will be talking about how to create a local awards program. And as Denisha mentioned, I invited Bob and Quentin from some local chapters. We'll speak later on in the presentation about how they run a local awards program for their chapter. If you do happen to have questions during the presentation, you can submit them through the chat box, and then they will be answered at the end. So let's get into some of the more important steps to consider when beginning to plan your awards presentation. So the first step is to create an awards committee that can help to plan and execute your program. Work with your chapter board to appoint an awards committee and chair to oversee the planning and execution of your program. The committee should also include a mix of representatives from the concrete industry. Many of the more successful programs try to select an individual who has expressed a strong interest in the program to chair the committee for multiple years. And you'll want the committee to be comprised of a sufficient number of people who are enthusiastic about contributing their time to both the organization and to the execution of the program. So the next step is to engage and work with local organizations in your area to enhance your program. These include companies like the Structural Engineers Association, the American Council of Engineering Companies, the American Society of Concrete Contractors, etc. So you can work with these allied organizations to solicit project entries and promote the event among their membership groups. It is important to keep in mind, though, that if there is another local awards program in your area, that you want to make sure that your dates do not conflict with the dates of that specific program. So the next step is to develop a timeline to highlight the important dates related to your event. So for planning purposes, it's important to remember that a well-planned and executed awards program can take up to 6 to 8 months to really put together and execute. However, once your program has been established and becomes more of a tradition, the time involved will likely be reduced. You should also make sure to consider the submittal deadline for the National ACI Excellence in Concrete Construction Awards when setting your own timeline. This will ensure that all of the projects that have won have an opportunity to submit nationally. The next step is to prepare a budget that will help you better understand some of the important expenses that will come along with your program. So when you're planning your budget, it's important to keep in mind the scope of your awards event and the important expenses that can arise, things like venue, meal costs, the type of awards you're presenting, production fees, and marketing and promotion. If you are looking for ways to increase your chapter's income, consider charging a submittal fee for projects to submit, or even a registration fee to attend the awards event. Sponsorships can also help to offset the cost of your event while also giving the recognition to the local companies in your area who are providing support. It's important to provide a variety of different support levels so that you can appeal to both large and small companies in your area. Offer benefits to the sponsors, things that include things like their logo prominently displayed in the program or on signage or during the awards presentation, complimentary admission to the event, or verbal recognition during the ceremony. Next, you should design the awards that will be given to all of your project winners. So what is awarded and to who is at the discretion of your committee and highly dependent on what your budget is. As the program becomes more established, the type and number of awards will likely change. As more projects are recognized, the event may become much larger. So keep in mind, though, that the number of awards that are given out may have a negative effect on attendance if your program begins to run a little bit too long. Some possible award recipients could include people like the architect, engineer, general or concrete contractor, or concrete supplier. The type of award that is given out typically varies across chapters. So some chapters award a certificate or plaque, while others create a custom award made out of concrete. And along the lines of that, the primary award is sometimes given to only one member and available to purchase to additional members, or it's given to multiple project members on the team. So the next step is to begin planning your awards event and selecting a venue. So choose an option that works best for your chapter, because the type of program you choose will help to determine the formality of the event, such as black tie, semi-formal, or business casual. While most chapters choose an evening event with a dinner or reception, other options include maybe a luncheon or making it a theme for one of your monthly meetings. Choosing your event style will also help determine where you will hold your event. So while hotel ballrooms are the most common venue, don't overlook other options, things like golf course clubhouses, restaurants with large banquet rooms, local banquet venues, or even unique historical sites in your area. The next step is to identify the categories that each of your projects can be submitted in. So the awards committee should select categories that seem to be of the greatest interest in the local area. Some examples include decorative concrete, flat work, green or environmental use of concrete, innovation in concrete, parking structures, residential, etc. The awards committee can also reserve the right to present a special award that's outside of these categories. This may include something like an overall winner, a project that involves a human interest story, or a project that's so big in size or scope that it overshadows all of the other project entries. Ultimately, the goal of an awards program is to recognize people that are constructing exceptional concrete. So the more award opportunities will lead to increased participation in your awards program. When choosing your categories, it may be beneficial to also consider how the winners in these categories will fit into the National ACI Excellence in Concrete Construction Awards program. So a lot of chapters sometimes often model their categories off of the national program. So our categories are currently low, mid, and high-rise buildings, flat work, infrastructure, decorative concrete, and repair and restoration. Next, you will need to identify the local judges that can assist in evaluating your project submissions. The award committee should select a judging panel that consists of a variety of people from the construction industry, people in industries such as concrete contractors, concrete suppliers, architects, civil engineers, structural engineers, etc. So your judges can come from your chapter membership, or you can utilize the allied organizations in your area as a good resource for finding prospective judges. It's recommended to select an odd number of judges to eliminate any potential ties and help expedite the process. 3 to 5 judges seem to work the best for most chapters. So now you need to create your entry form that all of the project submitters can easily use and access. So while historically the entry form has been a paper document, more and more chapters are migrating over to more electronic media. So you need to make sure that your entry form clearly defines any eligibility rules, the submittal process, all of your project categories, judging criteria, and an area for the submitter to enter all of the project information. You should also include information about the awards presentation event, the date, and location. It's also important to provide any guidelines that a project must meet to be submitted. Like, does it have to be located in a specific geographical area, within a certain amount of time, or submitted by a specific person on the project? If an entry does not meet any of these eligibility requirements, it should be clearly stated on the submittal form that the awards committee cannot consider the. You need to make sure to clearly define how and what materials are needed to submit the project. This includes the entry form, any pictures, project description and fact sheet, concrete description, or any other information that your committee believes is important. Provide the deadline date for materials to be received and to who they should be sent, and list all of the project categories with definitions on the entry form. Also, if your chapter chooses to have an entry fee, make sure that's also communicated on the form. Also, while most of the awards committees ask the project submitter to select a project category, some choose to have it assigned by the awards committee. However, in either case, most chapters do reserve the right to reassign a project to a different category if the committee or the judging panel feels that it would be beneficial for that project. So as far as some of the content that should be within your entry form, in the project description, you should encourage the submitter to highlight how concrete was effectively used and any unique features or specific types of concrete were used in the project. Also, consider limiting the total number of words to help expedite the judging process. At a minimum, make sure that the entry form includes the project name and address, the date of project completion, contact information of the person who submitted the entry, and the names and contact information for all of the project team members that your chapter chooses to recognize. People like the owner, architect, engineer, general and concrete contractor, and concrete supplier. The entry form should also state how many pictures should be submitted, in what format, and include a photographer's release form. You want to make sure that enough photos are submitted that the photos can be used within your awards program, and also give the judges the best opportunity to really see the project. 8 to 12 photos are typically recommended, and should try to include the construction process, the finished project, and highlight any significant concrete elements. You can also use time-lapse photography and/or drone video, and make sure to clearly state that the photos or videos submitted become the property of the chapter, and that the submitter got all of the necessary permissions and releases prior to providing any of those photographs. The awards committee should also make sure to provide a brief description of the judging panel and state the criteria to which the projects will be judged. Some of the more common criteria include innovative construction, creativity, engineering merit, architectural merit, etc. The committee may also want to review and incorporate the criteria that is used in the ACI national program within their local awards program. So once your entry form is complete, it's now time to begin the judging process. So once all of your entries have been received and reviewed, the judging panel should convene to make their final decision. The necessary time really depends on the number of categories and the number of entries received. Choose a location that's convenient for all of your judges to arrange, or arrange for each of them to evaluate the project virtually. And also make sure to provide the judges with the criteria they need to know so that they know what to base their opinion on. And if a point system is used, also make sure to explain it to them so that they clearly understand the process. So once your judging is complete and you have your project winners, it's now time to notify them. So there's really 2 options available when choosing to do this. The first is that once judging is complete, you can notify the winners immediately and let them know when they will receive their award. Or you can keep the winners a secret, invite all the entrants to the awards event, and announce the winners live. Some chapters prefer this approach because it helps to build interest in the program and increase attendance. If your winners are announced before the awards presentation, though, make sure that everyone who has submitted a project is notified that they're not a winner, thanked for taking the time and effort to submit their entry, and invited and acknowledged at the awards event. Lastly, you should promote and share your program to help generate interest with other industry professionals and allied organizations. Promote the event like you would any other chapter meeting using your chapter website, social media, and email blasts. You can also send a press release to local newspapers or trade magazines. And be sure to submit an article to the managing director of Concrete International Magazine to provide additional promotion to the winners and to your local chapter. So now we're going to look at some of the local awards programs in action. So the first is from the ACI Eastern Pennsylvania and Delaware chapter. As stated earlier, Quentin Davis is here from the chapter to speak on some of the unique features of their awards program. But first, I just want to highlight a little bit of information about their awards program. So modeled after the National ACI Excellence in Concrete Construction Awards program, the primary goal of the program is to engage and retain members, generate local industry interest, and keep the local community informed. Judges are selected from a variety of different positions, including structural engineers, architects, and industry educational professionals. The categories also follow the ACI national program. Up to 5 awards are typically given out to the project winners. This includes the project submitter, the owner, concrete supplier, and 2 additional team members. To generate revenue for the program, they offer 3 sponsorship levels, platinum, gold, and silver. And they create a poster banner at the event that showcases all of the project sponsors. Sponsors are also receive free tickets, recognition during the awards presentation, and a verbal acknowledgement at the event. With regards to the awards ceremony, they sell both individual tickets and table tickets at a reduced price. ACI leadership is invited and has attended in the past. So the project winners create a board to display their project details during the awards ceremony. And this allows for a great opportunity for the project team members to engage and interact with the other event attendees and talk about their winning project. The chapter also uses their LinkedIn page to promote the event. As you can see in the right photo, Quentin even recorded a video about the program and shared it on their LinkedIn page. So now I'm going to invite Quentin to tell you a bit about the student beam competition, which is kind of a unique thing that they incorporated within their local awards program.
Good afternoon, everyone. Our chapter does have an annual student beam competition, which is made of all the local, invited all the local ACI chapters within our jurisdiction to participate. Typically, we have anywhere from 5 to 10 teams enter. And the judging is done on 2 different criteria. One is the closest to the estimated load, and we actually mix it up every year. And then finally, once the program has been completed, as part of our engagement efforts with the local colleges, we do the awards presentation at our Excellence in Concrete award ceremony. What this does, because it's in the spring, it does allow some of the college students to engage with people within our industry. We do allow them, the winning teams, as well as their faculty advisor, they receive complimentary tickets to the event. And then any students from all the schools who have participated, when we say get a highly discounted rate to attend, it's pretty much just so they, we would offer them free tickets, and we did that one year, but when we found that the people who said they were coming didn't come, but we were still on the hook for those, those meals that we paid for. So to kind of get more engagement, we offer a very highly discounted rate. Just so we know if they're coming out of their pocket, we feel that it'd be a highly likely that they will attend. And it does well. Some students have been able to, again, network with people from the various disciplines of our community that participate in the program. And again, just sit in a setting with people that they want to be part of. Additionally, it does help stimulate interest for local, as we try to grow our chapter, these students, if they decide to take employment within the local area, we find that they do participate in our dinner meetings, our webinars and such. So it's a good way of growing the chapter and retaining a good mix of our membership.
Thank you.
One thing I do want to add with regard to our local award ceremony.
Yeah.
One thing that when we relaunched the program, when I came on board, one of the things that we decided to do, we actually decided to do two things. One is we allow for the projects that were not winners, we do allow them to resubmit one additional time, because our judges do change from year to year. So that one gives us an opportunity. Number one, we actually will have like an inventory, we'll say, of projects already, to start out with for the following year. And then the second thing we did was we found that we have a lot of our firms, because we have a lot of engineering firms that submit, they have projects that extend beyond our area. So we put a rule in that if anyone worked on a project, within the people working on within our area, as long as someone worked on the project can be anywhere. They can submit those projects, and that allowed a wider range of projects to come in. I mean, one of our winners last year was local in our mid-rise category, came from a project that was actually in Miami, Florida, but the bulk of the team was done from people within our area. So that was two things that we added. Now I'll stop right there, Emily.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So now we're going to move over to the ACI Northern California and Western Nevada chapter with Bob Lima, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll invite him to speak shortly. I just want to give you a brief overview of some of the ways the chapter has found success with their local awards program. So similar to the previous chapter, they also model their program and categories off of the ACI national program. The primary goal of the event really isn't to make a profit, but instead they really want to provide people with an opportunity to see what's going on in the industry and celebrate with their peers. The overall budget for the event is around $2,500. Non-winning companies can attend for $45 and students can attend for $10. And 2 seats are also comped at the banquet for all of the winning entries. The judging panel includes industry professionals and officers in construction. The judging process works so each judge rates the project out of 1 to 10 based on provided criteria. Judges really aren't encouraged to meet and discuss the projects together, but rather to really make their own decisions based only on the information that's provided to them. So awards are provided to the project submitter. Different additional awards are provided to each person on the project team, and those have all of the project team members listed. Due to the vast size of the area that the chapter covers, the venues are often selected in different locations across the region. So this makes it easier for different people in different parts of the state to attend the awards event. During the event, winners are invited to the podium to discuss and present their presentation or their project details, and with an opportunity for audience members to ask questions. So next, I'll invite Bob to speak a bit about their event style and where they have found the best success.
Thank you. One of the interesting things is that in the budget, the $2,500 is a $2,500 loss, because we make the dinner available at break even for attendees, and then we offer, just like Quentin's project does, program does. We make it available to students at a dramatically reduced rate of $10 a dinner. Again, for the same reason that Quentin's chapter does. we want to assign a value to the event. And if the value is free, then you may or may not want to come. But if you've got 10 whole dollars committed to it, I mean, just 10 big ones you could spend, on 1.5 Frappuccino double lattes at Starbucks, or come see incredible projects, at least got a 50-50 chance of them coming to see your projects. The reason I want to talk about dress code for a second, one of the things that I heard several years ago, because we do not have a more formal elevated style for the dress code, is that people who are involved as working on the job site as project managers or concrete suppliers or whatever, they can come directly from the job site and they don't feel like they have to provide a change of clothes and then get to the awards presentation. We try to, provide different venues. We've sort of zeroed in on our main attendees end up being from the Sacramento area and from Silicon Valley. So we try to find a place between those two. We have not, it's been really strange. In the beginning of the chapter's history, we had a lot of membership in the chapter from the San Francisco Bay Area and San Francisco, except for the companies headquartered in San Francisco that enter projects. We don't have that much involvement anymore from people in San Francisco. That's a chapter challenge, but it's also reflected in the entries. We have people are requested to make a 10 to 15 minute presentation of the project. And then a lot of the students that come offer questions, but they also, as Quentin said, they can hang out with some of these major companies, leaders and construction folks, and so they can learn a lot more about opportunities at that company. And there's been a couple of occasions where the relationship started between a student and somebody in a company that ended up with that student being hired. So it was just great. We provide a bunch of awards. We stack them up. Sometimes we have 9 of the project team awards, and then we have 1 glass award. The project team awards are color die sub awards, and they list everybody on the team. And everybody likes that idea because that sort of memorializes the people that were on that project team. One of the interesting dynamics is, maybe Quentin can address this also, is we have had pushback from people who do not want to attend the awards or even participate in the awards. This is something that we all have to encounter, because the people who do really good work but are not the stellar superstar companies in our region feel that the stellar superstar companies in our region are the ones that always get the awards, so they don't submit projects. Well, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So there's some really good mid-sized and smaller companies in our region that have submitted awards and won. Now, they would have never won if they didn't submit. So our challenge is to say to them, we have a group of independent judges who will assign values independently to your project, which means you're judged apart from a group sense. We used to have a judging process where the judges would get on a conference call or they would meet and discuss the projects. Well, then that results in, we even had situations where the project would change categories. So somebody submits a project under architectural value, but then that would be changed to use of concrete. So it's like you go to a car dealership and you say, I want a Chevy, and they bring out a Buick. I wanted a Chevy. That's my Chevy over there. No. The owners thought that you'd be getting a Buick would be better for you. So we don't do that anymore. We follow the ACI categories, ACI excellence categories, and it's difficult for a 2-story building to be entered into a 15-story plus building category unless they really pad the rendering. It's like 17 more floors on the rendering. So we have eliminated a lot of the conflicts, and we find out that when we submit the entries on behalf of the winners of our local awards, we just copy and paste from their submittals to us into the online form, because the form for the ACI Excellence in Concrete Awards International is the same form that we use locally, and it's solved a lot of problems.
Great,
Yeah,
thank you, Bob.
I can jump in. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Yeah, I can jump in and piggyback on what Bob said. Yes, by following the ACI format, you definitely do cut through some of those gray areas. The only thing that we did differently locally in our mid-rise category, we found that we were getting a lot of parking garages entered, and we wanted to kind of do a compare apples and apples. So we split. That's the only thing we did. We split our mid-rise to mid-rise buildings and mid-rise. Even though some people may say a parking garage is a building, but we made parking garages its own category, and that kind of yes, it added one more category locally, and but it did make the competition a little more balanced, sure. And we also, with our judges, even before COVID, our judges did do it individually. I never had the judges, sit at a round table and do that. Number one, everyone's doing it on a volunteer basis, so I wanted to make it as easy for them as possible, and give them enough time to do it. So one key I would say to anyone who's started a program is, you want to give yourself enough lead time between the final submission and the process to allow your judges ample time to really go through the projects. Because what's going to happen is, you'll start out, we started out, we had enough projects to at least have some competition in each category. But as we grew, we saw that we were having more and more. So, but from the beginning on, we kind of kept the same ideology of just, give enough time for judging. So even though they had, we gave them enough time for when we had a few projects, but we still have enough time with a lot of time to allow them to judge, the more that we're growing into.
Great. Thank you guys so much. So we're nearing the end. So I just want to open it up to any questions that may have come in.
Thanks, Emily. It looks like we do have a few questions that have come in, but I do want to make notice that we are at the 30-minute mark. So if anybody needs to log off, that's fine, but we should be finishing up really soon. It looks like the first question, what value is it to my chapter to create a local awards program?
Okay, so there's a lot of benefits that creating a local awards program can allow for your chapter. It can help to increase exposure and status within the community in your area. It can help you build new ties with other allied organizations, drive membership, increase visibility, and encourage your members to get involved with micro-volunteerism.
Okay, and it looks like our second question is, how do I get members excited about getting involved in a local awards program?
So there's a couple things that you can do. Invite members to all of the important events or meetings that are related to the awards program. Share the details everywhere that you're online, on your website, on social. Provide incentives for people to get involved, and create like media, videos, pictures that you can share to generate excitement.
Can I comment about one benefit?
Yeah, absolutely.
The story is, and when Emily and I talked earlier about this, I'll make it very short. One of the entries submitted this year was it was a 1.2 mile, 1.3 mile section of highway in Santa Rosa County that was converted from asphalt to concrete. And this particular project was done under COVID restrictions, and it was done at night. All these other criteria and stuff. So the advocacy was at the supervisor's level for the building department, going in and saying that concrete is a better substance than materials than asphalt, and proved it, and concrete came in at a lower bid. But when they submitted this project to us, they also had other submittals pending to other organizations. They won the, I believe, the California League of Cities highest award in infrastructure for this little project. They won our award for infrastructure. And so what it did is it validated the decision to go with concrete. because it was recognized as having value. And that's one of the other things. It validates to governmental organizations, which is a key thing that we often sort of ignore because the budgets are often not as large or as glamorous as obviously other projects that are part and parcel of the great local competitions, is that these projects are going to be in place for 20 years. And there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, especially in difficult budget times, to make these projects go ahead with whatever materials that are chosen for it. And in this case, concrete won the materials contest and then has picked up these additional awards. So it's a nice feedback loop for the county supervisors who feel validated in choosing concrete and the style at which the project was executed. Very practical.
I'll add one thing real short as well. Two things. 2 years ago was I believe it was our 50th year as a chapter. So our award is more formalized, but we engaged with ACI National, and they were more than willing to assist and participate. Obviously, we had to put a budget for their expenses, but they were very open to, and it was very. Our local community was really excited that we actually had someone from a national level participate. So that's the one thing. The second thing is we actually had a winner from our local awards program that actually won an award from ACI National, which we say ACI National, it's actually an international award. So that was like that has been a really big selling point for us going forward, that, hey, we've actually had an international, we've actually had a winner come out of this competition. So, and people do get, companies and do get excited about this kind of thing. So it's definitely for us, it's probably, the high is, as Bob said, ours isn't a for-profit event. If we break even, then we did good. But it's really like to highlight all the work from the beginning of the year, and just kind of bring everybody in. It's just like our finale for all the work that we've done throughout the year.
It's great.
Well, I just want to thank you, Emily, Quentin, and Bob, for that great presentation. We truly appreciate your time and willingness to present to our chapters. I hope that all of our chapters learned something valuable that they can apply to their awards program. And this will conclude today's webinar presentation. I hope that everyone has a great morning, a great afternoon, or great night, depending on where you're calling in from. And continue to stay safe. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.